Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So 6 weeks ago, Anthropic announced a model capable of finding 27-year-old security vulnerabilities overnight, and governments on 3 continents called emergency meetings. Last week, Microsoft read that announcement and did something unusual. Instead of issuing a press release promising they were working on something similar, they just shipped it. And according to the independent benchmark that now measures this space, what they shipped is better. On May 12th, Microsoft launched MDASH, short for Multi-Model Agentic Scanning Harness. The name is not elegant, but the architecture behind it is genuinely novel. The team that built it, Microsoft's Autonomous Code Security Group, was not assembled from inside Microsoft's existing security division. Several of its core members came from Team Atlanta, the group that won the $29.5 million DARPA AI Cyber Challenge in 2024 by building an autonomous system capable of finding and patching real vulnerabilities in complex open-source projects. That is not a hiring detail. It means the people who designed MDASH spent years building the predecessor to it under the most rigorous adversarial conditions the US government could construct. When they say the system works, they have a track record that predates Microsoft's involvement. MDASH is not a single AI model doing security research. It is more than 100 specialized AI agents, each assigned a different role in a pipeline, working in coordinated sequence. Some scan source code for potential vulnerabilities. Others debate whether each candidate finding is real and actually exploitable. A separate group builds working proof of concept attacks to confirm the bug exists before any human reviews it. A final validation layer checks the proof before anything reaches a security engineer. What you get at the end is not a list of hypotheses. It is a set of confirmed, proven vulnerabilities, with working exploits attached. The announcement came alongside 16 new CVEs across the Windows networking and authentication stack. All 16 were patched in the same day's Patch Tuesday release. 4 of them were rated critical, meaning an unauthenticated remote attacker could execute code on a target machine without any user interaction. One of those, CVE-2026-33827, lived in the IKEEXT service, the Windows component responsible for IPsec key exchange. It was reachable over UDP port 500, which is open on any machine running RRAS VPN, direct access, or always-on VPN, meaning the majority of enterprise remote access infrastructure in the world. An attacker who found that bug before Microsoft did could have sent a single crafted network packet and received system-level code execution on the other end. MDASH found it. Nobody outside Microsoft's security team knew it existed until Patch Tuesday. Another critical finding, CVE-2026-33824, spanned 6 source files and required reasoning about how memory allocation worked across 3 concurrent code paths, simultaneously freeing the same object. The kind of bug that a human researcher might spend weeks hunting if they knew where to look. MDASH found it end-to-end, with a working exploit, without a human in the loop at any stage of discovery. Now here is where the story gets interesting in a way that most of the coverage missed. Microsoft did not just announce MDASH alongside 16 bug fixes. They published benchmark results that directly compare it to the 2 systems everyone has been talking about. On CyberGym, the UC Berkeley benchmark built around 1,507 real-world vulnerability reproduction tasks. MDASH scored 88.45%. Anthropic's Mythos Preview, the model that scared regulators into emergency meetings, scored 83.1%. OpenAI's GPT-5.5 scored 81.8%. MDASH beat both of them by roughly 5 points. Satya Nadella posted about it on X the following morning. That is not a subtle move. Microsoft's VP for Agentic Security, Tae-Soo Kim, made the strategic argument explicitly. The durable advantage lies in the agentic system around the model rather than any single model itself. That sentence is worth sitting with. Anthropic built a more powerful individual model. Microsoft built a system that coordinates multiple models and beats the individual model on the benchmark that matters. The implication is that the AI security race is not going to be won by whoever trains the best foundation model. It is going to be won by whoever builds the best pipeline around whichever models are available. And Microsoft has a structural advantage in pipeline building that no AI lab can easily replicate. Decades of Windows internals knowledge, the entire MSRC case database, and direct access to every component it needs to secure. They put that advantage to work in 2 specific retrospective tests that are more revealing than any benchmark. MDASH was run against pre-patch snapshots of CLFS.sys, a heavily reviewed reviewed Windows kernel component and asked to find the same bugs that human researchers had confirmed over 5 years of MSRC cases. It recovered 96% of them. Then it was run against tcpip.sys with the same setup. It found 100% of the historical cases. These are not theoretical bugs. These are the exact vulnerabilities that real attackers have exploited, that Microsoft has had to issue emergency patches for, that have caused actual damage in the real world. A system that can recover a 5-year backlog of confirmed exploits in a kernel component that has been reviewed by some of the best security researchers alive is not a research demo, it is a production capability. So why is not everyone calling this the most important security announcement of the year? A few reasons, and they are legitimate. Sanchit Virgogia, chief analyst at Greyhound Research, gave the most balanced industry take. CyberGym is a signal, not a buying decision. The benchmark measures performance on known, well-scoped vulnerability reproduction tasks. Running MDASH inside a live enterprise environment filled with ambiguous telemetry, poorly documented legacy code, and thousands of potential false leads is a different challenge entirely. Microsoft's strongest numbers come from its own environments, its own historical case set, a benchmark configuration it had visibility into. That does not make the results dishonest. It makes them a ceiling, not a floor. The gap between an impressive internal harness and a repeatable outcome for a customer's codebase is where many enterprise security products quietly fall apart. There is also the conflict of interest problem that Greyhound's analysts put bluntly. Microsoft is simultaneously the operating system vendor whose code MDASH scans, the security vendor selling the tooling to scan it, an AI infrastructure player through its Azure and OpenAI partnership, and now an agentic security supplier. That is a formidable set of positions. It is also an unusual concentration of leverage over the same security ecosystem, when the company that builds Windows is also the company selling the tool that finds bugs in Windows, and is also the company reporting how good that tool is at finding bugs in Windows. The incentive structure deserves scrutiny. The competitive dynamics around the launch deserve their own paragraph. Anthropic announced Project Glasswing on April 7th. Microsoft responded by fast-tracking MDASH and launching it May 12th, 5 weeks later, with a higher benchmark score and a direct comparison to Mythos published in their own blog post. OpenAI launched Daybreak the same day, a vulnerability detection and patch validation program built on GPT-5.5 Cyber, also positioned as a Glasswing response. All three systems are currently behind narrow access gates. Anthropic restricted Mythos to 12 partners. OpenAI is running a managed access program for Daybreak. MDASH is in private preview for a small set of enterprise customers, with broader availability expected in June. None of these tools are available to the companies that most need them, which is the same tension that has defined every major AI safety product release in the last 2 years. What MDASH represents, underneath the benchmark numbers and the Patch Tuesday optics, is a shift in how the security industry thinks about where the value lies. For the last decade, security vendors competed on the quality of their detection models. The race was, whose model has better signal? MDASH's architecture is a direct argument that the detection model is a commodity, and the orchestration layer is the moat. 100 specialized agents coordinating a structured debate to reduce false positives and prove exploitability is not a model capability, it is a systems engineering capability, and that is a game Microsoft knows how to play better than any AI lab. MDASH is also, notably, model agnostic by design. Microsoft can swap the underlying frontier models as newer ones are released without rebuilding the pipeline. When GPT-6 ships, or Claude Opus 5, or whatever comes next, MDASH plugs it in. The architecture outlasts any single model. That is a different kind of durability than anything Anthropic or OpenAI has built so far. The race to find vulnerabilities before attackers do has been underway for as long as there has been software. What is new is the pace. And for the first time since Anthropic's announcement 6 weeks ago, the pace belongs to Microsoft. Thanks for watching. This is AI Tides, and I'll see you in the next one.